top of mind marketing. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. It was funny today, I was looking at a lot of the ads that were showing up in my Facebook feed, and I saw a couple of local business owners offering help with the wildfire situation that's going on right now. I guess you'd call it wildfire. It's probably not wild. They're kind of popping up in really odd locations. So I live in Southern Oregon right now, and I'll get into the business end of this by giving you a little bit of background. I live in Southern Oregon, and every year during the hottest time of year, we tend to have lightning storms, which will hit large patches of forest, of dried up forest, catch something on fire, and go out of control. And with the hot heat and the winds that come up in the late summer and early fall, it tends to be a horrible situation. If we start getting wildfires, one becomes another, and it just starts going crazy. Now, this doesn't happen every year. We always have a few fires here and there, but it doesn't happen where it's uncontrollable every year. In fact, this year was a pretty mild year up until this point, at least here in Southern Oregon. Now, down in California, they were having a horrible fire season, one of the worst of all time. Here in Oregon, we were having a pretty mild season. And then just here in September of 2020, we start ending up with all these fires popping up in odd places. They weren't popping up because of lightning strikes. They were popping up out of nowhere near towns in the areas that could burn, but in very odd locations and multiple places all at once, as if they were purposefully done. And only time will tell whether that's the case or not, but it's an odd situation for us. Because of that fact, because it's near the towns, many people very quickly have lost their homes or have been pushed out of their homes, at least temporarily, or had things extremely damaged by these fires that swept through over just a couple days. So we have large parking lots, church parking lots, and other places where people are camped out because they left everything behind. In many cases, they lost their animals. There isn't a lot of human life that's been lost, by my understanding, but it's still early. I mean, until we get heavy rains and the temperatures cool down quite a bit, which tends to happen later in September. Until that happens, it's still kind of a tight situation. Why am I bringing this up on a business podcast, on a business video cast that we have here on a nightly basis? I'm bringing it up because this is top of the mind awareness of everybody in this region. If you are not directly affected, like I have not been directly affected, we actually live out in the country. We haven't had anything near us that's been troubled. Fingers crossed, you know somebody that's being affected. And I know many people that are being affected. Sean E. Douglas, our podcast producer, he had to evacuate his home a few times yesterday until they got some of the fires under control. And he lives in the middle of town, okay? So this is, it's an unusual circumstance, but it's one of those things that touches everybody. And everyone around here is dealing with the smoke. Right outside, it's nighttime out here currently. If I took my flashlight, shined it through the air, you'd see ash and smoke very thick. It comes and it goes depending on where the breeze is blowing and how many fires we're dealing with at any particular time. But it's nasty stuff, and you can't get away from it. It is one of the main things that everyone's thinking about. So when somebody goes and puts an ad out that references the situation, either offering to help or offering a service to help, that's huge. Don't ignore that. When you're thinking of entering the conversation that's already going on in your customer's mind, you have to keep in mind what's top of the mind at that moment. And sometimes it can be very specific depending on where they're living, or what political party they are, or what's going on that day in the news. These are all things you have to keep in mind when you're putting advertising out there. Now, if you unlock it, if you're able to find something, let's say you were putting an ad out right now in Southern Oregon. Not that you're taking advantage of the situation, but you need to be able to get past what people are already thinking about. And the only way to get past it is to at least acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge what's already going on, so that you can then have a conversation about whatever it is that you want to talk about, whether it's related to or not. You have to acknowledge the conversation that's already going on. That's what top of the mind marketing is all about. If you want to learn more about the things you can do to keep on top of the mind, then go check out my book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. There's a free copy waiting for you over at AmazonProofBook.com. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Stay safe. Hopefully everything's good in your neck of the woods, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. Even if this is years from now that you're watching this video, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Have a great night. In the meantime, before we meet again, get out there and let the magic happen.